What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB. Once again, big shout out to my dog Shenanigans 0672 for coming through and boosting up the coin. So, bash. Fake the cake, dinner lady Paul. I'll start off with the breaking news and then we'll get into the politics of the situation. Here we go. Fake the cake, dinner lady, bingo wings Paul is now world ranked. This is diabolical, man. And I'm not going to make out. Probably a couple of years ago I might have been shocked, but these days it really is blatantly pay for play. The WBC came out in the last few days and said, no matter what Tyson Fury does, he's got a guaranteed title shot when he comes back. It's like, that's just not. Okay, they're a big name. It's just not right though, man. It's not about, this is the sports. Meritocracy is what it's supposed to be. You can't rock up to the Olympics. See what I mean? There's no difference really. Okay, professionals, you make money. But look at the NFL. If you can't throw a ball properly, right? If you can't if you can't kick a foot... Let's speak about the UK. If you can't kick a football, there's some plumbers who get drafted in, but you get the point. If you're not elite, you're not getting on the team just because you've got clout. Right? When was the last time they did that? Okay, there's some washed up teams who kind of are paying Ronaldo and Messi, but they're still good, number one. And number two, their goodness, they're getting paid loads of money to play in Dubai or America because they was real good. And they're still up there, right? It's not like fake Paul 10 years ago was really a boxer and then he's old, but I kind of get that. You've put your work in. He ain't put no graft in. Now, arguably, top 14 rank, okay, that means he can finally start fighting people. So I'm not even necessarily against it on hindsight, thinking about it now. It's probably a good thing he gets ranked. Because the more he's ranked, just by osmosis, just by diffusion, he's going to have to fight someone who ain't 70. Right, you'd think. Well, what are they going to do? I'm not putting it past. There was an article a little while ago. The WBA president was saying, yeah, we'll just give him a belt. Yeah, we'll make a way to give him the belt. Because all they care about is the coins. If they could have fake Paul, if they knew fake Paul was bringing in 20 mil each fight, they'd probably take that over Ramirez being champion. Right? They'd probably structure it where, yeah, we'll give Jake Paul the belt, don't fight Ramirez or strip Ramirez or something like that. Maybe they put some moody thing in Ramirez's drink. He gets stripped. Oop, 2-2 Bill Cosby in his drink. Oh, he popped. Sorry. Bash. Oh, fake Paul's in there now. He's been elevated from number 50th in the world after beating Chavez, who got punched up by a 50-year-old washed up mixed martial arts fighter who got punched up by a beyond Uriah Hall. Do you know who Uriah Hall is? Uriah Hall was... His claim to fame was, I think he won the Ultimate Fighter. That was the best he got. Yeah? He looked good on the Ultimate Fighter as well. Remember some of his fights. He looked really explosive. But either way, his claim to fame was he won essentially an amateur competition to become part of the UFC and then didn't do nothing. Uriah Hall punched up Chavez. Yeah? Coquez. Julio Coquez Jr. got punched up by a dude who ain't never no good in his own sport, man. Wrestling. He couldn't even dominate wrestling. Right? And fake Paul digs Chavez up. Coquez. Come on. So I think what they do is... Listen, I'm going to show you some evidence here. Let's finish reading the article. The WBA have ranked fake the cake dinner. Look at these bingo wings, man. Oh, YB, why'd you say bingo wings? You don't see the bingo wings. If you look very carefully, look, the triceps just looks round, doesn't he? He's got the Eddie Hall fit. I don't know what. He's on some water retention gear. Some gear that makes you retain heaps of water. And all the fats and all the water fake Paul eats, he don't go to the toilet. He don't go for a piss. He just retains it all in his bingo wings. Yeah, that's what he does. He looking like a dinner lady. That's why I say it. Got the dinner lady fit. If you put fake Paul in a dinner lady outfit, he'd fit right in. If all you saw was his arm, you'd say, oh, that guy works at the preschool. Yeah, he works at the preschool in the dinner hall. That's what you'd say. I'm not even making it up. Just round and soft, man. It's just soft, man. Pumped up. High blood pressure from all the gear he's allegedly consuming. Anyway, the next part says, fake Paul is now eligible to challenge Gilberto Ramirez for the unified cruiserweight titles. Now, This has been speculated about. That's why do you think Ramirez got drafted onto a fake Paul promotion? That wasn't for nothing. It's not like Ramirez is a fellow clout demon where it makes sense, okay, you got some clout and you can box a bit, I'll throw you on. Ramirez don't sell no tickets. He's got no name like that, really, at all. And he's not a big knockout artist. So there's nothing outside of setting up the fake Paul versus Ramirez fight. There's nothing else that makes sense. And the WBA, or who was it, WBA have now moved to do this. If fake Paul fights Ramirez, well, I say that. All things equal, I'd like to give him credit if it's not rigged. If he wins, it was rigged. That's what I'm saying. It sounds like, oh, you're hating, he can't do nothing right, but I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I've seen too much. There is not, honestly, you know, people say, oh, I've got a 1 in 100 chance. Fake the cake Paul, I'd probably give him, he's better off playing the Powerball in the States. He's better off playing the Euro Millions in Europe. Honestly, that's not me being. I think he's probably got a 1 in about 600 million chance. He'd need the stars to. He'd need, like I said, he'd need to hire Vladimir Putin's services from the FSB, yeah, and get some moody polonium and put it in his drink. That's what I'm. Again, I say a lot of things in jest, but I'm being serious. It needs to be something like that, yeah. Some biochemical warfare needs to have taken place against Ramirez for me to give fake Paul a chance. Right, he needs to be severely compromised when he gets in that ring. If he gets in that ring even 50%, what's fake Paul gonna do? What's he gonna do? Honestly, what's he gonna do? So it's rigged if he wins. It was rigged. Even if he's sick, I don't even see what fake Paul does then. He can't. He's not like that. He's got. Listen, fair play. He's done something obviously, but he's not. I've watched Ramirez. Yeah, that's what I did. Anyway, let's get to this bit here. This sets the scene for the fake Paul versus Ramirez situ. This was after the fight, in the post-fight press conference, after fake Paul punched up a paid-off Julio Cesar Coquez Jr. They had this little, no, it's not skirmish, but they basically faced off. Now, to be fair to fake Paul, again, I don't know how rigged the fights are. Yeah, I'm going with rigged. He's either rigged yet or delusional. Because he's facing off with him. Initially, after the fight, I was saying to you, man, oh, they're walking it back. Of course they don't want Ramirez. But for him to face off with Ramirez, could he still duck? He could. Could it just be for the optics of it? Oh, yeah, I faced off with him, but we couldn't get the deal done. That's still possible. Right? But would you really want to start facing off if you had no intention? I don't know. Anyway, here's the audio you need to listen to. This is what fake Paul says to Ramirez.
Let's go!
Slow. You know that? You're gonna have to speed up. You're a good fighter. You're a good fighter. But it's a little slow. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Let's go. Thank you, everybody. Congrats on the win, man.
So if you didn't hear that, fake Paul's in his face and he goes, "You're too slow. You're going to have to speed up." I'll play it again. It's worth listening. But look at the size, people. Fake Paul's only... Look, Ramirez. Honestly, man, I swear to God right now to you, man. Ramirez, yeah. As long as the FSB, as long as Fake the Cake Paul hasn't hired Vladimir Putin to put... And it could be, they're all linked, man. All them man are all linked, man, for sure. That's the truth. So Fake Paul just got to pick the phone up, get his little teacup out, put it on his head, pick the phone up, and Vladimir Putin gonna make it do what it do. That's what you're gonna do, and you're gonna see this guy Ramirez gonna be like this, looking like Morpheus from the Matrix. That's how he's gonna look. You know when Morpheus is wired up, the agents have caught him slipping, and he's like. That's how Ramirez is gonna look in the ring, man, because he knows something I don't. Look at the size of Ramirez. Pause. Yeah, boxing isn't even all about size, but it's one thing. Fighting a big stiff idiot. It's another thing. Fake Paul's never even fought a big man, a big useless man yet. He hasn't. A lot of the tricks he gets away with is because he fights midgets. That's the truth. A lot of the things he gets away with, like Mike Perry and whatnot, he has all the advantages, the size, even the skill. Take the Mike Perry fight. Size, skill, reach. He had every factor in the book. With Ramirez, he has no size, he has no skill, He has no experience. He has nothing. About speed, yeah? It's easy to... I watched the highlights of Ramirez versus Zurdo. But experienced eyes who know what they're looking at, yeah? Fake Paul don't know what he's looking at. It's easy to say, oh, Ramirez looks slow. Ramirez is in there with another top-level dude, right? So Ramirez may have been a bit slower than Dorticus, for example, which makes him look slow. But Fake Paul, you're in there with Chavez, yeah? A pumped-up 160-pounder with a career record of conservative estimates of between 11 and 12 kilos of Chang have swam up his nose. Yeah, for sure. That's what experts are saying. For sure. That's the truth. And even then, little times Chavez let his hands go, your back end was flapping, man. And you might need to watch. Fake Paul needs to watch the Ramirez versus... I mean, look at this angle here. This looks silly. It looks silly, man. Ramirez, I need to see this fight. But it'll be rigged, won't it? He knows what he's doing, man. You couldn't beat Tommy. You couldn't beat Tommy, man. There's no way. I think Tommy versus Fake Paul now is still 50-50. Tommy's going life and death with random Bulgarian plumbers and Uber Eats drivers. Ramirez, yeah. I'm telling you now. Ramirez... I want to see it, because it will be... I got Ramirez stopping Fake Paul. Watch Ramirez boxing Dorticus. No clinching. Oh, he gets hit. He gets hit, yeah, because his feet are right there, and he's looking to come back. Yeah, that's for me. That's the true sign of a proper fighter. There's dudes who do other things, but a proper fighter for me is someone who's looking to get back. They're not necessarily scared about getting hit at all. Ramirez will get hit with one to come back with two himself. That for me is the definition of a professional fighter. Of course, there's other professionals like Haney or whatever who they make these, they hack their way to fair play to them, they're making money, but you know what I mean. For me, a true fighter, a true boxer is someone who ain't scared to take a hit, to give a few hits. I don't mean Ramirez is sloppy. His hands are up. He's nifty with his head, but the point is, he's not all. I think the better definition, the more concise definition is, if your only defense as a fighter is to move your feet, that don't count for me. It don't count. If all you've got is a clinch and to backpedal, that's not real. That's the most basic in my opinion. Ramirez, I didn't see no clinching. Very little of it. Or better yet, it wasn't his go-to. Fake Paul's go-to defense is cling on for dear life. His go-to defense is backpedal. He has no, I'll have a look, I'll catch this shot and whip off. No inside game at all. And Ramirez, yeah, them big slow... Fake Paul looks okay quick against bums. Yeah? Once Ramirez gets his eyes on him, and Fake Paul think he's smart, you won't have seen nothing like it. You won't have seen nothing like it. I'm not even sure Ramirez respect Fake Paul's power. You got to remember, Fake Paul is getting respect from retired 160-pounders. Do you understand? That's who he's getting respect from. It's not even that much of a stretch to believe. A natural... Well, I think Fake Paul's pumped up as well, but what cycle is he on, allegedly? We don't know. And in fact, on that note, before we get to the Ramirez part, or go back to the Ramirez part, I mean, just look at this here, look. Ramirez just sunning this dude. He's looking down on him, smiling. Yeah, you need to get your speed up. You're too slow. I hope Fake Paul really believes... He can't believe it though. Can he be that deluded? It's possible, but he must. You'd need to see a stepper win to believe he's going to jump in there with Ramirez. The argument is, well, there's two belts on the line, so that might encourage him to roll the dice. But outside of that, there's no way you go from Chavez to Ramirez. Yeah, Fake Paul wouldn't beat Billum Smith, and Zurdo ate Billum Smith for it was easy work, man. Really. Zurdo looked like he was cruising in there. Fake Paul wouldn't beat Billum Smith, for sure. Not one chance. Come on. Ramirez has been in there with... well, he's been in there with Bivol, for example. He lost that fight. Look at the size of the guy, though. He never should have been at one... I think he was at 168 at one point as well. He never should have been nowhere near there. He's a massive dude. He's quite soft at cruiserweight. But he reminds me of like a Benavidez build. He's like a... some people say Benavidez should be a cruiserweight, but I think Zurdo's taller than Benavidez, but he's got that Benavidez soft body fit. Yeah? And people, make this fight happen. Make this fight happen. even if it's rigged, to be honest. I want to watch it to see how rigged it, because this will be the true test. The only way they could probably rig it some more is if they got, I don't know, Jai Opetaia in there. I think Opetaia probably beats Zerdo. It's a good fight though. But get Opetaia. What's Opetaia doing? Opetaia's fighting some bum somewhere, man. Get Opetaia in there with Fake Paul. You might as well rig it that way. That way we can say, okay, this was proper rigged. But maybe Fake Paul really believes that Zerdo's too slow. Maybe that's what. Maybe he's watching tape and thinking he's too slow. He's too slow, and he's convincing himself. So if that's the case, fair play to him. And that off chance that fights aren't rigged, we're gonna see something special. Imagine that. Imagine the bell going, yeah, and it's actually not rigged. You will see. Honestly, I'm trying to think of an example of it. What it will look like. It will look like a Triple G fight. That's how I think it will go. I think Fake Paul will be good, because the thing about Fake Paul is, I think Fake Paul will probably be competitive for 4 rounds. Maybe. And the reason I say 4 rounds and not 6 is, Fake Paul normally looks pretty good until 6, when he's having it his own way. Even sparring, but fighting I assume similar. In sparring, when you're having your own way, it's almost a different sport to when you're having to think and or thinking, ow. Do you know what I mean? It's not the same. If you're having your own way and you're calm and relaxed, that's one thing. You'll be a certain level of tired. You might get tired after 6 rounds. So Fake Paul currently, he gets tired after 6 rounds, having his own way. 4 rounds with Ramirez, he'll be using all of his twitch, all of his explosiveness, all of his gas, just to compete. So he might be, I'm not even sure he gets to 4 rounds. I think after 2 or 3 rounds, he's going to look like he does after 7 or 8. Yeah, just to be in the fight. He might win a round out of 3 or 4, kind of thing. And then when that gas runs out, you saw Chavez, who's paid and or no good. When Fake Paul's gas ran out after over 10 rounds, never mind 12, you're going to see something is going to be good if it's not rigged. But he must know that. Again, he hasn't even had one 12-round fight against a small bum yet, right? You're telling me you go from a 10-rounder against a small bum, small old bum, and you jump up to a full unified champion level fight over 12. Again, that's what implies to me he knows. It's a moody deck of cards. It doesn't make logical sense. You'd want to at least to have done one 12-rounder with someone mid-level competitive. Who have we got? Let's think of some names at cruiserweight. Oh, I don't know. Bradis. He'd get punched up by Bradis though. Maybe the belts are what keeping him thinking about Ramirez, but Bradis would punch him up. Bradis would punch him up 40 or not. He'd get punched up by Bradis. Pastinka went life and death with Bradis. I just want to look at some names quickly before we get to the last part. So we'll look at some names. There must be some. Cruiserweight's a weird one. You just need someone durable, but people can say, well, Fake Paul likes to fight people with names, but he don't. He fought 2 Golden Gloves plumbers from yesteryear. Who have we got here? Yeah, there's a bunch of random names here. Vidal would box him up. And the thing about the Vidal fight is that has got some, not Fake Paul levels, not Netflix levels, but it has got some influencer appeal. Jack Massey, who got stopped by Opetaia. He's not going to do it though, is he? He's not going to go in there with one of these guys will punch him up. Honestly. What else we got here? Jean-Pascal, how old is he? 60? He was knocking around with Carl Froch. Yeah, I think the name, it doesn't really have many old names in there. Fake Paul needs an old name, an old Western name, and I can't see any here. I mean, even at the top of the division, there's not even a headline name now. Maybe David Haye. David Haye. Do you know how much he loves money? Do you know how much taxes David Haye allegedly owes? Yeah, come on. Light-skinned man don't pay their taxes, that's the truth. They don't pay no taxes, man. David Haye owe taxes, man. Fake Paul would take that fight with David Haye. So it's a UK one though, isn't it? But he's old enough. He's old enough and David Haye might have to chat. And he damn sure needs the money for the taxes, so that could be a little play there. But it's not, he needs an American. Wilder though. Wilder will make cruiserweight. Wilder don't want it, I don't think. He wants to fight some more proper plumbers. Should be Fake Paul though, to tell the truth. Anyway, So they're setting it up. He's ranked number 14, which now enables him to fight Ramirez. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, and I'm hoping, because Fake Paul's been a heavy favourite in all these recent fights. I'm hoping, somehow, some way, Fake Paul is around 50-50. Or even if Fake Paul's a 40% underdog, I'm going bigly on Ramirez. I'm going, or maybe I'll wait for the first round actually, to see how rigged it is. That's a little edge there for the gamblers out there. Don't bet on a fight off the rip. Don't do it. Wait until you've watched a few rounds. Yeah, especially if you think the fight might go to points or might go later. There's no real rush. Right. So if let's say the fight starts, yeah, and we're 2 rounds in, and Fake Paul's just bossing him, and Ramirez is standing there following him like a heavy bag, then we know it's fake and gay, and don't put the bet on. But if it's in there, I think Ramirez will look in that fight. Yeah, Ramirez will look like he's having a laugh. It will look like a dog walk, a Sunday stroll. You've just been to the pub. You've got the dogs out. The kids are with you. Maybe not the kids are with you, do your head in, but you get the point. Your dog's out. You're taking dog for a walk. You stopped off for a pint. You're going to the lunchtime bottomless brunch. That's how it will look for Ramirez. He'll be doing what he wants with him, honestly. Name one word that epitomises Ramirez versus Jake Paul. I'd say Diddy at this point in time. That's how you'd be watching him thinking, oh man, that looks like sex trafficking or some form of, yeah. He trafficked him. Let's say the fight's in Vegas. Hey man, Ramirez, you up on charges, bro, federal charges for trafficking Fake Paul there to have a go on him. You took him across state lines and take it. That's how it will look, honestly. It will look that bad. It will look proper bad. It won't be competitive at all. After 3 rounds. I'll give him 3 rounds to be halfway in there. And he'll be, once his gas runs out, which it will, it always does, he'll be in. Trust me, man. Trust me. I don't know if Ramirez might even not necessarily lose. It might be one of them where they tell him, okay, we're okay for you to win, but just win badly. Does that make sense? Let it look like he's really in the mix, and then Jake Paul might drop back down and build off the basis. Well, look, I won 5 rounds against Ramirez, and it's a great first time. I've gone from YouTube to challenging for 2 belts, and then he can fight Tommy or whatever. And these are all possibilities. I'm telling you now, there's no way someone gets in there with Ramirez in his current state. Not one chance. Without rigging. Anyway, we're moving on. Let's play this clip now. This is a clip talking about the future of Jake's career.
Right with your team, you were right. Andreas L from ESPN. Listen, the last time you fought a fighter that had a lot of pressure towards you was Tommy Fury. You looked a lot different tonight. And people still go back to that fight and say, well, he couldn't beat Tommy Fury. Talk about how much different you are of a fighter now as opposed to when you fought Tommy.
I don't even think I was a fighter then. I was like 2.5 years into the sport. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have the proper team around me, the proper conditioning. My lifestyle outside of the ring was still that of like a YouTuber, celebrity actor, whatever I was at that point in time. So I wasn't fully focused on boxing. Like I said, this feels like chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in the sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me, but what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know that Tommy Fury's name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that we talked a lot about. Is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026. And we're going to meet with Matchroom while we're in New York to promote the greatest trilogy in the history of boxing.
So, you heard there, they said if it's not for the titles, we'll do Tommy, if Tommy's reasonable. So that there's loads of things going on in that statement alone. Tommy might not be reasonable, which has been the case allegedly. Jake Paul said, I'll give you $3 million for the rematch. I think that's similar to what Tommy got paid the first time. Tommy's saying, well, I've won, so the money should go up. Listen, Tommy, bro, you ain't got no prospects like that. You're a taker, end of the day. You're not a prize maker. You're not a prize setter. You're a taker. You take it. That's all you do. You're a bottom. Yeah? You're a sister. In jail, they call Tommy a sister. You ain't got no leverage at all. And Tommy's best bet really is to go in there, lose to Fake Paul in a close fight, and then do a trilogy. Or just keep boxing his head off and laughing at him, and that might keep it stringing out. That said, so hopefully Tommy, honestly, Tommy won't do Jake Paul harm. Jake Paul at cruiserweight could even win that fight. I might even say he's a favourite at cruiserweight. Tommy looks really slow. His edge has never been being a slow plodder. Right? He couldn't even stop that guy. He looks really slow and really tired. I got Fake Paul beating Tommy at cruiserweight. Which, to be fair, they're both muppets anyway. I'm not saying I want to see Jake Paul really get it. And Tommy can't deliver that. So I hope Tommy does play about and that fight don't happen. So the Ramirez fight can happen. Now, they've mentioned, we're going to meet Eggy Hearn and the Matchroom guys, and we're going to get the AJ fight done in 26. Yeah. You won't be doing the AJ fight if you get in there with... They must know what they're doing. The AJ fight's massive. Well, certainly, that's Netflixable. They'll probably stick Ramirez on Netflix with Jake Paul just because he's got the teacup links there. But it's not a big one. Outside of the hardcore boxing guys, who's going to really watch that? I'll watch it. That's for damn sure. I'll be watching that. You best believe it. But if he gets in there Ramirez, I'm not sure he'll box again. Full stop. Or certainly he'll realise he's really an influencer once he gets in there with Ramirez. I don't think I've never seen Jake Paul even fly in real sparring partners. You don't even see him flying in British champions or former world champions. You never see. They're always random, nondescript, local level dudes. He will get the shock of his life from Ramirez, and that will completely kill. Listen, man. As bad as AJ is, he's a big old dude. AJ looks bad against the absolute top level. Yeah, you saw what he did with Mbonga, and he's massive as well. Pause. All these little advantages Fake Paul can't punch with 160-pounders. I'm not sure Fake Paul's best punch knocks AJ out, honestly. Even if AJ stood there, Fake Paul's name isn't Daniel Dubois, and even Dubois, it took him like 3 knockdowns. Fake Paul wouldn't get... You know AJ's got that moody style where his hands are here and he's kind of pouring. Fake Paul wouldn't get past that. He just wouldn't. He'll be 5 foot tall, and AJ's got pretty good feet, to be fair. Yeah? It'll look bad for Fake Paul. Fake Paul's going to be the smaller guy. Fake Paul's not a pressure fighter. He's going to be the guy having to work to get in. And AJ, for the first time in recent history, he will be able to just close his eyes and win the uppercut, and Fake Paul's head will come off. That's what will happen. Ben Davison's training techniques will actually work. You best believe it. For the Fake Paul fight, he'll be able to close his eyes, put his chin in the air, and just wing his right hand, and Fake Paul's head will come off. So I'm happy either way. That's a shame. You telling me you'd rather fight Ramirez than AJ now? That just doesn't make sense to me. Oh, we can't fight AJ till 26. What, you can fight Ramirez? What's more winnable for Fake Paul? What's more winnable for Fake Paul, AJ or Ramirez? I guess you'd have to go with you'd probably have to say the AJ fight's more winnable. Why? Ramirez has got a good chin. You have to believe Fake Paul's going to outbox Ramirez, right? He's not. So Fake Paul's not knocking out Ramirez, and he's not outboxing Ramirez, so he can never win. In the AJ fight, there's enough of a narrative to say maybe Fake Paul could look at the floor and bowl for the ashes, and not my base case, but there is, I think Fake Paul's got a better chance of clipping AJ than he has Ramirez, because we haven't seen no holes in Ramirez like that, bottom line. Yeah? And plus the AJ fight's bigger, so it's arguably more winnable, a bigger fight. Nah, he's not getting in there with Ramirez. He's capping. He's not stupid, Fake Paul. Look at his resume. 50-year-old wrestler, Nate Diaz. Yeah, Nate Diaz is a BJJ specialist, and you couldn't even knock him out. You couldn't do it. What you can do with AJ? You can't knock Nate out. You can't knock Chavez out, but you're gonna spark AJ or spark Ramirez. Okay. Anyway, got one last leak for you, man. On the PED situation, Fake Paul's manager let slip that Fake Paul was caning the gear for this camp. Here we go.
Started catching his shots, shooting back, and I had to elevate tonight and rise to a different level. And fight at the end, and I think that the fans got a good fight to see him come out, put some punches on me, and it makes me better. It brings the best out of me. I started catching his shots, shooting back.
Fake Paul, I hate to say it, yeah. It sounds good. Oh, I was catching and shooting. That's exactly what you wasn't doing. That's what Ramirez does. You were shitting yourself, clinging on or backpedaling and looking silly on the ropes. You wasn't catching and shooting anything. I've got to be honest. You wasn't. You wasn't catching and shooting. You shit yourself. That's not me. Listen, he's doing better than me and whatever else. Fair enough. He's been in the ring, but you wasn't doing that. Yeah. If I got in a ring and wasn't catching and shooting, I'd say I wasn't catching and shooting because it didn't happen. We all watched him, and you shit your pants. I get it. That's the easiest thing to do when someone's on you, is to clam up / backpedal / clinch. That's the level you're at. You're at the punches are flying stage. Bottom line, you're not at the catch and counter stage, which in my opinion is that is the premium level. And it's almost, I'd argue, a lot of it is a lost art these days. People, they're all trained to defend with their feet or with their clinch. Look at Okolie. When was the last time we saw Okolie catch and counter? Never. They train with the back pedal. They train with the clinch, and that's the beauty of the game. Jaron Ennis does it well. He'll just be in there. He gets hit a few times. You can't win with the fans. I'd rather see someone get hit a few times, but trying to be exciting / experimental / high technique as such, than just clinging on and spoiling a fight like Vlad or Tyson. That Vlad Tyson Fury fight was a whopper. Honestly, wow. Anyway, here's the PED league.
And I had to elevate tonight and rise to a different level, and I'm glad that the fans got to see me get punched in the face a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's good. I love a good fight.
You also went through a lot of testing this camp. Now that I saw you posted some on
It's not
social
this
media-
camp. He's gone through full body testing multiple times.
How-
Right? Tommy Fury,
How many
Nate
times
Diaz,
do they-
this fight.
Yeah. How many times do they typically test you?
Elevate tonight and rise to a different. Get punched in the face a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's good. I love a good fight.
You also went through a lot of testing this camp. Now that I saw you posted some on
It's not
social
this
media-
camp. He's gone through full body testing multiple times.
How-
Right? Tommy Fury,
How many
Nate
times do
Diaz,
they-
this
Not this time. Not this camp. Not this camp is what Bradarian says. Oh, not this camp, but multiple times we have done it. What do you mean, not this camp? Yeah. You'd hope with Ramirez, they'll be checking it. Honestly, if that was, I'm down with that. To tell the truth, I'm down with. If the Ramirez, if Fake Paul said to me, YB, you're the king of boxing, which is a fact, but nah. If Fake Paul said to me, YB, you're the king of boxing, you're king for a day, what do you want to do? I'd say, listen, Fake Paul, you'll fight in December 2025, and you can do all the gear you want. Yeah. What you can't do is rig the fight. I've got no problem with that. Fake Paul could do 10 years. He could do 5 years cane in the gear and then fight Ramirez, and he would get punched up. Seriously, I got no problem with him cheating. If that's the only cheating he's doing. What I don't like is what Fake Paul does. He's off the gear. He tells his opponents, don't throw your hands until the last 2 rounds. Yeah. He gives them I heard as well, someone leaked it to me. Fake Paul puts in the contract, they have a fixed fee of 5 million, right? And every punch they throw, they take 100 grand off. Or sorry, every punch they land. That's why dude landed like 10 shots. Pause. That's what he did. It makes sense now, right? Why no one throwing their hands? Oh, there's a clause in there. Every punch you land, you're gonna be paying money, man. Anyway, people, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, like the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this. Some people stop it. Yep.